ready?
I didn't bet on that.
We'll get started here with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's December 7th, 2023. It's going to be a little bit different today. Commissioner Mays is going to zoom in on this meeting. He's up on the screen right now. Commissioner Mays represents District 3. On my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. So, Stephanie, what's first on the agenda?
Item 3, consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, we have vouchers this morning that total $3,915,482.68. And the highlight out of that voucher report, under buildings and maintenance, facility management, public works, solid waste, and we have $122,986.17. That is to OpenGov Incorporated for cartograph software maintenance. Under Bridge Project with Claver Construction Company Incorporated, $85,543.20 is for Southwest 107th Street over Elm Run Creek. And then under federal grant, Axon Enterprise Incorporated totaling $701,780.35 is for Axon Fleet Cameras and Services. Under the solid waste recycling with Rarig Pacific Company totaling $81,833.44 are for rough use totes. And again, the solid waste is an enterprise fund, not taxpayer dollars. And so I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers and would move for their approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I will move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Public Works, number 1, consider awarding a bid to Rush Truck Center of Kansas City, Missouri for a heavy-duty Tatum axle truck, dump truck with snowplow. The cost will be paid for out of the 2024 Capital Outlay Fund, $150,000, and the Public Works Special Machinery Fund, $82,703.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. On November 29th, we received 2 bids for a dump truck with a snowplow. You may recall that initially here a few weeks ago, I rejected an earlier bids because they weren't compatible. This time, it appears like we've got 2 great bids. They're very similar. They were only $3,000 apart. They have the same snowplow, they have the same bed, they have the same engine, they have the same transmission. The only difference is for one bid from Premier, the cabin chassis is Freightliner, and from Rush Truck Center, the cabin chassis is International. Now, the Premier bid was the lowest bid, again by a margin of approximately $3,000. In addition, they could deliver in 210 days, they said. Okay, so on the surface, that appears to be the lowest, most responsible bid. But it's not the best bid. The best bid was submitted by Rush Truck Center. They're both out of Kansas City, Missouri, both vendors. And the reason is International has a local parts and service center, whereas Premier, we would have to take our trucks to Kansas City to have them serviced and to get parts. So overall, even though we're spending $3,000 more, I'm asking you to approve this bid from Rush Truck Center, so we will get this truck ordered, and hopefully we'll get delivery in late 2024. I look forward to your questions.
Did the other company have a date when they could deliver?
They said 210 days, Premier did. Rush was a year.
A year?
Yeah, but again, I think over the life of the equipment, having a local vendor and a difference of $3,000, it'll more than make up the difference in cost.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I don't.
I will move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider awarding a bid to Maxwell Products, Inc. of Salt Lake City, Utah for 96,000 pounds of pavement crack and joint sealant, which is to be paid for using funds from the 2023 Public Works operating budget.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. Crack sealing is one of our primary pavement maintenance activities, along with chip seals. We order material every 2 or 3 years. This time, we ordered some material that comes in a prepackaged form that you just throw the whole thing in, the material and the package is absorbed into the melt. We don't have to worry about cardboard boxes, transporting them, making sure they get to the trash or recycling. So 2 truckloads, 96,000 pounds. If you approve this bid, I will get product ordered, and because of a holiday shopping discount, I can get a 4 cents per pound discount from what the 60 cents per pound bid was posted at. I look forward to your questions.
Will this be used primarily on roads, or is it parking lots?
Well, you could use it on parking lots, but obviously I think we'll probably be using it mostly on roads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reason I was asking, don't we have a parking lot fund?
Yes, we do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know where that was coming from. All right. Any other questions?
I'll move for approval.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Kurt. Next item.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract 393-2023, Amendment Number 1 to C 317-2023 with MCP Build, Inc. to adjust the payment schedule and execute the material cost down payment to the amount of $349,459 utilizing approved capital projects bonding.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Lorette, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. So it's a little bit of housekeeping. We were up here on November 16th asking to do a letter of intent to make this payment. You approved that. Now we're actually here to do an amendment to the agreement so that we can actually process that payment. And this also does make a change to the way we're doing our payments right now to MCP. So we would do quarterly payments of $75,000 until we were done with the design work. So I'd be happy, I know it's a little confusing, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I have a quick question. You said we're looking at doing it in increments of 25%, $75,000 for every 25% completion. But that's just on the design work, it's not on the construction portion of this at all?
Yes, that is just, I believe we're just talking about the design work because that's the only work that they're technically doing right now. As we go through this process, they're making changes to the design. We're working to get this down to that guaranteed maximum price. So that is just to pay them for the work they're currently doing.
But Tim, it seems like the design work is well over 50% done right now.
I think that's probably accurate. We're not going to pay them more than what they're due. but this just changes that schedule.
Okay, I mean, I don't have any real problem with it, but, I just wonder, how do we determine those percentages? I mean, it seems, a little objective.
I believe in the actual proposal and in the schedule, I shouldn't say the proposal, in the design work, what we're doing right now, there is a line item for design, how much that's gonna cost. And I don't think that's changed. I think, in reality, I think it's actually gone down from where we started. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I know as we've tried to continually work to get this down to that $4 million budget, that's one of the areas that they actually reduced for the design fees. So I don't think we're in danger of paying more than we originally thought. I think we're actually paying a little less than we originally thought, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
there are two separate items, though.
Correct.
One is that the MCP is going to be paid $300,000 for the design, paid in those 25% increments. No?
No, the $349,459 is for the down payment on the playground
No,
equipment.
you have 300,000, which will be paid in quarterly increments of 75,000.
Right,
And then you have 349,000 for the design playground equipment.
that is correct.
So we're actually talking about a total expenditure approved today of $649,459.
You are correct.
Okay. And of that $649,459, that is still, you're still within the budget of $4 million. We're not
Correct.
at $4,600,000.
No, this is not additional. This is part of that. It will ultimately be included in that guaranteed maximum price, that $4 million.
Okay. But you're asking for two expenditures today, one for $300,000 for the design and one for $349,000 for the design playground.
Yes, that is technically true, but we are doing those payments in, we're not doing that whole $300,000 for design in one lump sum. Those will be quarterly payments.
Right.
I was, excuse me, Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. I was just going to say the same thing, which is, we are, I think he's asking for the approval of the contract so that he can authorize the payments in the 25% increments. But in order to get those payments, the vendor and Tim would have to sign off that they had met that level of deliverable on the,
I was just looking, the memorandum doesn't really reflect the amendment. I mean, those two really don't look like they jive. Because your memorandum just talks about the $349,000, and then it talks about it being made in quarterly payments. But realistically, you've got $300,000 that's gonna be in quarterly payments, and then a separate expenditure of $349,000 for the design playground equipment. So we're talking about two different expenditures.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Does the adjustment schedule apply to both of those or just this one?
Just the design work.
So your amendment is just for this design?
Yeah, what we're trying to do, and I certainly don't want to get too far in the weeds on this because I'm a little out of my depth, but is make sure that we're following these design build regulations. So when we come up here and talk about doing these amendments, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we've worked very closely with Jonathan Brazon from the county counselor's office to make sure that what we're doing is what we should be doing, as following those design build requirements.
If that's the case, then I would make a motion to approve the memorandum, to approve the amendment number 1 to Shawnee County Contract C317-2023, wherein it is outlined that there will be a lump sum of $300,000 paid in quarterly increments of $75,000 upon quarterly completion, and a lump sum of $349,459 to be paid in full at the time of invoicing for the securing the deposit and ordering of the design playground equipment. That is my motion.
Second.
All right.
The only thing I'll say, Commissioners, is that we do follow Robert's Rules of Orders, and usually motions should be single purpose. So this would have been a lot less confusing if we had broken these up into different agenda items and then had a different motion on each one.
Agreed.
All right.
I'm only working with the amended contract as I'm developing.
But,
I would agree. Yeah, as we're going through this process, I wish we'd have broken this out into two separate agenda items.
all right. We have a motion on motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to award the bid for bank stabilization at Horseshoe Bend Park to L. Underwood LLC for $122,500, $82,500 from the Building Maintenance Fund, and $40,000 from the CFAP grant, and execution of contract C-394-2023 for same.
Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. We were up here previously asking permission to apply for the Kansas Wildlife and Parks Communities Fishery Assistance Program, CFAP grant. We were awarded that grant for up to $40,000. We also asked permission to go out for an RFP to do the work on the bank stabilization and some sidewalk renovation at Horseshoe Bend Park. We had 3 bidders. Underwood LCC was the lowest and most responsive bidder, and we're asking your permission today to enter into a contract with Underwood LCC and begin that process.
What does this bank stabilization look like? Are you putting like limestone boulders?
Riprap, yeah.
Riprap
Yeah.
around there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And isn't there currently a sidewalk around there?
There is, and some of that's being replaced as part of this project.
Okay.
That's several broken panels.
Yeah. They'll probably break some more just getting in and out of
It's
there.
possible.
All right. Any other questions?
I do not.
Tim, I saw in the contract here, it says they would do dredging if needed. Do we have any idea if that will be needed?
I don't know. I don't think we'll know until they get in there and start working on the bank, if they feel like it might be needed.
Are they gonna drain this pond?
I think they'll lower the level, but I don't think they'll drain it.
Okay.
Are there fish in this pond or?
There are some fish in the pond, yes. Yeah, that's one of the ponds that we do stock.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions?
No.
All right. Well, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 3, Board of Commissioners approval is requested to reject all bids for RFP-058-23 and resolicit bids for the management of crossover tennis center at Felker Park.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So, we did go out for an RFP for the management of the crossover tennis center, and we did receive 2 bids. One of them is from our current vendor. The other is from a firm that was based out of Florida. We would like to, with your permission, the bid from our current vendor, I think, is a legitimate bid. The other one, there was a lot of things wrong with the bid. It did meet the requirements, but a lot of mistakes, a lot of clerical errors, just didn't give us a lot of confidence. And as I mentioned before, it's based out of Florida. We think there's a benefit to working with somebody locally if we can do that. So what we'd like to do is reject these bids and reopen this, go back out for bid and see if we get a little more interest. I have been working pretty closely with the Topeka Tennis Association on this project, so They're aware of where we stand and what we're trying to do today, and I believe they support that. So be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Tim, our contract with Genesis expires at the end of the year.
It does.
I don't see how you're gonna be able to get an RFP out, respond back before the commission in 3 weeks.
No, I think you're right. I think this will take us into January for sure. Fortunately, this time of year, that's pretty slow. And I think the only thing that's going to really require us to do in the interim is make sure that we're having that facility unlocked and locked when it's supposed to be, taking care of any trash. I think we'll be able to survive. We'll also get plenty of volunteer help from the TTA.
And I know that the Topeka Tennis Association is very active, but we have a significant amount of money that was invested into the renovations at the clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And if we're just unlocking it and then leaving it unattended, we're just inviting somebody to come and damage it.
Well, I don't really want to,
mean-
that happens now. That's part of the operations now. There's plenty of time where it's unlocked and there's no one there from a staffing standpoint.
I just didn't know if Genesis had somebody who was more on staff than,
It definitely will, yes, there's times they have people on staff, but the point I'm making is there's a lot of times they don't, that it's not required by the agreement. So that is a chance that we take.
are we reaching out to the tennis association to see if they can help fill in those times to make sure that reduce the possibility of vandalism?
Absolutely, yes. We'll talk with TTA. We've been discussing this with them quite a bit. I have no doubt between our staff and some of their volunteers will be able to cover it.
Okay.
Any other questions? I would move for approval.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Swan, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 3, consider approval of request on the design builder's proposal by Dollinger Construction as required by Section 4.4 of AIA Contract Number C-238-2023, setting the GMP at $3,999,617 for the Oakland Aquatic Center and execution of the design build amendment. Contract C-395-2023 pursuant to Section 4.43.
Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. So today, I'm excited to be here to talk about this. We've been working on this project for quite a while and trying to narrow the scope and the cost to get to that guaranteed maximum price of under $4 million. We believe we're there. As the clerk stated, the Donlinger is proposing a GMP of $3,999,617. I do have maybe if I can get to the mouse here. Okay, I don't know how to make that work, so. Here we go. So, just so you have a little bit of an overview, I do have Adam Dahl here with Donlinger Construction, and Adam can answer any technical questions that you may have. But I wanted to just touch briefly on what is, when I say we've reached this guaranteed maximum price, what's included in that cost. So we've talked about the current channel, which is sort of a mini lazy river that is included in this cost. Obviously, over here on the right-hand side is the bathhouse. So brand-new bathhouse with a roof, which, as you know, is a big improvement over what we currently have in Oakland. Pool with room for up to 3 lap lanes. We've got a nice size slide, diving well, diving board, zero depth entry, and a few spray park type amenities, some bubblers and some things like that. In the agreement, there is a list of alternates that we could add down the road if money allows, if we're able to secure other funding, or if we find some cost savings as part of the project. There are some other amenities that we could add. The 2% contingency for this project is not included in the total price. That 2% is $79,992. If we don't, I'm proposing that we either pay for that contingency out of the remaining bond money, or we could pay for it out of our building maintenance fund if need be. I'm trying to maximize the amount of money I can use on the actual project so that we can meet what we felt like were the wants that we heard from the neighborhood, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know Adam would be happy to also answer any questions that you might have.
Well, Adam, do you want to? Tim, I want to thank you and Adam for the work that you've done. I think this has been a work in progress to get to where we're at, and I thank you for listening to the concerns of the neighborhood and what they're at. Adam, I know there were some things that we had to kind of scale back to remain under our guaranteed maximum price. If there is additional funding sources that come forward, are there some additional things that we may be able to add in and into what's already designed?
That's a great question. So just to clarify, Commissioners, good morning. I'm Adam Dahl, project manager, and also help build the estimate and for all the proposals for this on our team. What you kind of reiterate and is some of the great highlighted items on through here are some of the features that Tim alluded to. These features actually are like the toddler slide, like the little kid slide up in the zero depth entry. And then we also have up here, these are like the floatable mats that sit up in there. However, we already have on there, part of the cost estimate, the amenities to bring that, like the anchors for those are gonna go in the pool. All the piping is gonna be in there, so when that time comes and money allows, we just set that, and it can be done anytime after the fact. Have piping to that, and the same thing also for the tumble bucket. So that part of our GMP base bid is the infrastructure to provide those. So it's basically just coming in once it's procured and putting that in, whether it's part of this project or after the season through there, so.
But even with the guaranteed maximum price, we still have the diving board, we still have the slide,
Yep.
we still have the lanes, we still have the mini lazy river called the Current, and an area for smaller children, and a bathhouse with a roof.
Yes, that is correct. And after going through this, yes, and going through this process, as I know we've gone through several of these different variations, but first variation of it, we didn't have any of that, through the process of the bigger scope. And once we got down to the getting bids and getting real detailed into the drawings and soliciting, we were able to actually take on that, the current channel lazy river, along with this slide. Now, this slide is a little different than the ones you see at some of the others. This is actually a dual slide, as compared to like just a single slide. So it's kind of a unique look to it. We really thought it would look nice for this community, because I do know there were several of them, according to some of the surveys that you've read, that really wanted this slide as well. And now they got two that can be possibly used for that. Sunshade structures are all a part of that as well. We had those as a current, previously like a VE option. Those are also a part of now of the project through there, including this one in here in the middle, which is the current.
Last summer, our WIBW's own Eric Ives did a live over at the Oakland Pool talking about the old pool and what's there, and that it was coming close to the end. And this is good to talk about what's new, because the current pool is just a pool. It doesn't have any amenities at all. And so we're adding quite a bit. This is going to be a big improvement over what's currently in Oakland.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that the Oakland community, and really anybody in Topeka and Shawnee County that wants to use this facility, we'll enjoy it once we get it complete.
So Adam, I guess the next big question, as WIBW and KS&T will be asking you, what's our timeline?
So our timeline right now is once we hit, our contract amendment is currently, it's July 31st, but that right now is, we're trying to push that up here. We kind of go through the details of the schedules. We got meetings with city Topeka officials, inspection officials here this afternoon, pending, results of this, trying to speed that up here. We are going to try to start sending out POs and subcontracts here this week here to try to lock down the big ticket items, which are slides, pumps, and electrical equipment are the big key items, no matter what building or project you're working on. We're pinpointed all the long lead time items to hit and try to improve on that date.
And then, Tim, our plan is still to have the current Oakland pool maybe open while we're doing this, or maybe looking at what the summer will hold. Again, construction lines and everything else, because we need to be pretty flexible with getting people in and doing the construction work.
Yeah, I think that could be problematic. I think while these are fairly close to each other, the new pool and the old pool, and I think essentially we're gonna be creating a construction zone that, as I stand here today, don't feel super confident about wanting to have little kids running around that area and using the pool. I would be, just to be completely honest and transparent, I think it's gonna be hard to have the old pool open while we're working on the new pool. I think we may, folks in that neighborhood may wanna make some plans to shoot over to Garfield or one of our other pools, for the summer. And all along, we've talked about July 1st as the target date, and we're really gonna work hard to try to make that. But we'll just see, there's so many things that are gonna play into it, obviously. Availability of the resources, like Adam talked about, weather, all those things will play into it.
All right, thank you.
You mentioned some shade structure. You have some in the pool, is that?
Yes, sir. So this right here is an umbrella shade structure, excuse me, that has a bench underneath it, like a concrete bench that wraps around it, so you can kind of sit underneath there. It's really good for young families and with little kids. Moms and dads sit there and kind of watch, and they put their feet in the water, and then kids are going and playing with the bubbler features that are up here that are actually in the pool, as well as some of these actual recircular nozzles act as their own, I would call, feature as well. So this is kind of a nice play area for that. So, and along with onto the deck, as you see there, those are, I believe, 12 by 20. Which is a big shade structures are very important here.
Shade's highly prized around the pool.
Yep.
Any other questions? Commissioner Mays?
Oh, we blocked.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
see if I
sorry.
can-
We've blocked you out here.
I don't know that I have any questions. The timeline is probably the most concerning thing for me. I know it seems like every year when school goes back in session, we're sending the lifeguards home and closing the pools. And so, July 31st would likely not allow for more than just a couple of weeks of swimming. So hopefully there are some changes that we could be made there where maybe, some of the heavy construction things we can try and get done first, and then, the finishing touches, maybe we could operate at the same time. I don't know if that's even feasible, but I would hope that we try and figure out a way that we could at least get water in that pool and allow people to use it for a couple hours a day at least, as early as possible.
Commissioner Mays, I did offer to Mr. Laurent that we would go buy 3 shovels and that the commissioners would start digging to help the progress get along a little bit faster.
I could be out there Saturday.
All right.
All right.
All right.
We'll be there.
Warranty on the pool. Does that start when we open? And
Yeah.
then it carries for a whole year, or how does that?
Yeah,
work?
and then it's, with the contracts, what we have agreements through, but then also there's warranties for all the individual, like manufacturer warranties, such as like the slide manufacturers have warranties on their coatings and everything. They're up to amount a year, it's like the powder coating on the steel of that, the flume slides. The sunshade structures have their own with their powder coat and then their fabric on through there. So there's the general warranties, and then there's even a bigger, broader scope of warranties when it comes to all the individual
It
equipment.
seems like on one of our pool projects, the warranty was for one pool season. We opened halfway through the year and then it was done, so I want to make sure we have a full year of, at least of our warranty. All right.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. I'll also just kind of say one more thing here, if you don't mind. A lot of these like metal things, we've got several large metal fabricating companies in Topeka that may not specialize in this type of thing, but they might be able to get them done a lot faster. It might be worth reaching out to some of those companies to see if they might be able to speed things up on the acquisition of those items.
Yes, we will, and we've vetted down, there's a few on our amendment list of some contractors here locally that we got, and a lot of them are like your masonry material contract vendor here, local here, and we've already been talking with them about speeding up their process and trying to get the masonry for the building. That's because it's going to be a split face block ordered immediately. So.
Okay. All right.
So I second it as well.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Mays, or, excuse me, a motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Tim. Next item.
Item D, audit finance. Number 1, consider the allocation of the 2024 transit guest tax.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. This morning, we are presenting the request for allocation of the 2024 transient guest tax. Each year, Shawnee County receives a 7% guest tax from the hotel. We have one hotel that's located out in the unincorporated area of Shawnee County. 1% of that guest tax is dedicated to infrastructure improvements at the Sunflower Soccer complex. The remaining 6% gets appropriated by the Board of Commissioners, and that is to promote conventions, tourism, and economic welfare of the county. So this year, we received 3 requests for those funds. We have representatives from all 3 groups here today that would, I think, like to present some information on their request. We have the Combat Air Museum, who has requested $7,000 for highway billboard signage. We have the Top City Half Marathon and 5K, which is requesting $6,500 for marketing, advertising, and other promotional materials. And then we have the Stormont Vale Event Center, which would be making requests for marketing and sales efforts for their events, for the balance of those funds. Just in rough estimate, this year, the revenue that would have been available for these 3 entities would have been $61,000. So, and of course, that's a moving target, but that is our best estimate of what next year would be. So, would you like to come up and, would you like to hear from the people from each of these organizations?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have the Combat Air Museum come up first. I'd like to introduce Jean Howarder with the Combat Air Museum.
Let me thank all of you for your service to the community. And I'd ask you to bear with me as I read my little proposal here. That way I don't get off track and I got my facts and figures right. So last year, the Shawnee County Commission kindly awarded $7,000 grant from the 2023 transient bed tax proceeds to the Combat Air Museum to cover contracts with Lamar Advertising of Topeka for the creation and rental of an eastbound highway I-70 billboard sign close to the Carlson Road exit west of Topeka. I put a copy of the model that they did for us. This is the sign that was actually built out there and has been out there for the past year. So let me share with you some of the details. The museum would like to make application once again to receive $7,000 for the 2024 transient bed tax fund in order to refresh the vinyl and continue the rental of the billboard sign for another year. The museum keeps detailed records of all visitors and how they found out about the tourism facility. While the internet and repeat visitors are in fact the number one reason visitors give of how they knew about the museum, responses indicating road signage proportionally increased from 10% in 2022 to 12.8% in 2023. Visitors' attendance at the museum has increased by close to 12% year-to-date compared to the same period of last year. 2023 will be the highest attendance this museum has had in the past 18 years, and that is on top of our record year that we had in 2022. I might point out, just for reference, I didn't write this down, but we're cracking this daily and weekly, and we're really doing well. We're as happy as can be that we're actually heading toward 13,000 paying visitors right now by the end of December, which would be an all-time record for us there. So road signage can therefore be credited as one of the reasons our attendance has increased, including from the areas and location west of Topeka, most likely due to the prominent 2023 I-70 installed highway billboard sign. Last year in our application, we said it was our intention to determine the cost effectiveness of the sign, and we think that the 12% attendance increase year to date can certainly point to this type of added advertising exposure, particularly to travelers along the west and east highway I-70. The Museum Board of Directors would like to express their appreciation for the support shown to the museum by the commissioners in 2023 and look forward to another successful year in tourism attendance should our request be granted. So that's all I have. Any questions?
I don't have any questions
No.
for Gene.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the volunteers and everything you guys do out there.
Well, we are 100% volunteer. I might point out, I've been there 47 years, and people said, "How long are you going to stay?" I said, "Till they carry me out."
I've got a question real quick.
Oh, Gene?
Gene?
So there's also the National Guard Museum out at the airfield as well. Has there been any, do we know if there's been any attendance increase for the National Guard Museum as well?
Well, we've, I think Mr. Dave Murray, our assistant, can help answer that as much as I can because we're in on this. We've been working with the Visit Topeka, Go Topeka over here on the highway signs that are all around the state, and we've been working with the Guard Museum to see if we can get those signs that are, I think there's 13 of them, aren't there, Dave? I need your information. There's 13 of them around the state. He's our financial guru, the guy that really cranks all this stuff out. There's about 13 signs around the state of Kansas, and what Dave has discovered in his travels, and he went and looked at them, is that they have put like 6 different venues on a sign. And Dave keeps asking him, how in the world can anyone at 80 miles an hour see 6 different venues on a sign? So what we've proposed is that they recreate those signs this year and narrow them down to like 2, maybe, to a sign, and use the same people, the zoo, and one of them is the National Guard Museum. Like they would put us and the Guard Museum on a sign together as well. Then they could put the zoo with the Discovery Center or whoever. But that, to answer your question, there have been, we have been working with and have had some conversation with the Guard Museum about the signage because they've been wondering about it also.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people, as they're coming to visit your museum, are going to drive right past it. And I mean, obviously, they've got a couple airplanes and tanks and things out front that draw your attention in. So I was just curious if they had seen any increase in attendance as well.
Yeah, we do work very closely with them, and it only benefits us to work closely with them. In fact, our director, Kevin Derulo, is in fact on their board of directors. And he brings information back and forth to us, but as, like I said, we actually do meet with General Gerhardt to coordinate different activities and stuff and try to work things together. So there's nothing that's definite at this time, but we're working on it, and we want to work on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Gene. All right. Is there anyone else here want to speak?
Yes, we have, we have Kate Cooley and Mark Price from the Top City Half Marathon and 5K.
Mark Price, Top City Half Marathon. We're going into our 5th year of the half marathon. We started back in 2020, which I will tell you was a great time to start a half marathon in April. Through over the years, we have grown substantially. In 2022, we had 305 runners come into Topeka. That was from 11 different states, and we had an international participant from Spain. Part of the reason our numbers were actually down that year from prior years is we had another race in Kansas City we were competing against. They changed their date, we didn't change ours. So in 23, last year, we reevaluated. We got with a company out of Kansas City, Casey Running Company, to see what we could do to grow our numbers. We switched with a date that didn't compete, and last year we had 457 runners sign up for it. We had 19 states, and we had another international runner this time from Germany. I did find out these are not people in the U.S. already. One of the Spanish runner came in and ran 5 different marathons in 4 weeks in the U.S. The Germany runner had come from Germany to do multiple states also. This year, we're already up to 127 runners to date. We've got 11 states, and then, strangely, another Germany runner. We're apparently pretty popular in Germany. And what we're asking for is help in advertising. We have a small group of volunteer board that we're doing this in our spare time, and we have not really sunk much money into advertising. And we're looking to really expand that. We're looking to reach out to other area races, Kansas City, Nebraska races, to try to get our name out, to get runners from outside of Kansas to come and see the beautiful city we have. We have a course that encompasses many pretty areas of Topeka, Brown v. Board, Westboro, Collins Park area, and then they come back into downtown where we start and finish up the Evergy Plaza. We are right now the only half marathon in Topeka. There's not even another one in Shawnee County, which makes us very unique and very special. And when I started running, I loved going out to other towns and seeing what they had to offer, and I wanted to have people be able to come to Topeka and see what Topeka housed and had, and why I love to live here for the last 46 years.
What do the winners receive?
So,
Medals?
well, everyone receives a medal. You get a shirt. Through our generous sponsors we've had a special beer the last 2 years. Well, last year and this year, Iron Rail has actually brewed a special beer for the finishers. So all finishers get a beer to, well, all finishers over 21 get a beer. We have other refreshments. Dickey's Barbecue has helped us provide sandwiches to all the runners. And then we have a nice little event at Evergy Plaza, and the top 2 age group winners, we have a special award we give out to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Ability to attend some additional conferences to leverage and solicit additional event activity for us throughout the year. Traditionally, these funds for our side have been utilized in about 3 or 4 conferences that I attend on an annual basis, and what we've started to do in our planning process is look at some convention and sales travel to solicit some more of the youth sports activity engagement, as well as some of the national and regional conference travel engagement. So we are earmarking some of these funds to utilize in our convention sales department to attend a few meetings throughout the year and hopefully bring some of that business back to the community. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
I don't. I do not.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
So I am just asking if you guys would approve the appropriation of these funds for 2024's transient guest revenues.
Okay, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Next,
Item E, Human Resources, number 1, consider the request to transfer excess budget funds to special project, $5,000 to the Wellness Fund, and the remaining budget to a vestibule update fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. We have lunch and learns every month, and the health and wellness budget would be for that of $5,000. We have between 15 and 25 people attending our monthly lunch and learns. And the remaining budget for 2023, we'd like to see go towards our fund for our vestibule update. We got that fund started with the 2023 budget. Once we bought our blinds, we found that we didn't have enough to finish the project. So we are hoping to have enough to go ahead and get that completed. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
question.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Next item.
Item F, Department of Corrections, number 1, request to post and fill the Community Correction Supervisor position approved for the fiscal year 2024 budget year in the amount of $94,599 for salary and benefits.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Phelps with Department of Corrections. This item is for us to proceed with what he had requested in our fiscal 24 budget proposal. And so we can go ahead and get this position filled early on in fiscal 24, and then we can backfill the position that's vacated if it is. I'll be happy to answer any question you have.
Questions? I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Tim, next item. Public comment. I don't have anyone signed up, but if there's someone here from the public who wishes to speak, this is your moment. Seeing none. Next item.
Number 6, Administrative Communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz again, Stormont-Vail Event Center and OVG 360. We've got an exciting month rounding out the year. We just finished up Paw Patrol last weekend. It was a huge hit. We surpassed our previous sales numbers on that one by quite a pretty big margin. Coming up this weekend, we have Mannheim Steamroller on Sunday. Next weekend, which will be on Saturday the 16th, we have Wing Fling coming back in the building. Nothing says Christmas like hot wings and beer. And then we finish out the year with our annual New Year's Eve Extreme Bull Riding event, which has grown to be a really exciting event to take place to finish out the year. It is an event that does happen on New Year's Eve, but I rest assured you're out of there by about 10:30. So you have plenty of time to enjoy the New Year's Eve festivities. So we hope some of our community and yourselves will come join us over the month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Mays, do you have anything?
I'll just say I'm down here in Wichita at the Kansas Association of Counties Convention. Had a great convention. It was record-breaking on all fronts, basically. It's the largest convention that we've ever had. So in attendance, in terms of sponsors, trade show participants, just been a really great conference, meeting a lot of folks. A lot of the discussion here has been around LEVTR, and then again, also the revenue neutral rate stuff. Some good workforce discussions for public government. And then we talked a lot about elections and the complexity of having 3 elections next year, what that's the toll that's going to take on our election staff, and probably a need for additional staff to get that done in a good way. So Again, the trade show was really nice. There were a lot of vendors there that, were able to offer some kind of new and different things that I had never heard of. So, it's been a good conference. Maybe you guys can make it next year.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, thanks. Commissioner Cook?
Well, do you have a JADO meeting next week on the 13th here in the county commission chambers? Typically, our meetings are in the evening in the city council chambers, but it's at 4 o'clock next week on the 13th here. So I think that's a first, isn't it?
It is a first. It is a first.
All right.
We will have a work session next Monday. Topic is Vallejo. I know Bill Persinger will be in here filling us in on everything going on out there. Also, this weekend's the Red Stocking Breakfast. It's this Saturday at the Pennant. This event helps support Kansas Children's Service Leagues. It's a good event, so if you get a chance, make it out to that. I think there'll be a few commissioners there serving pancakes, so anyway.
I'm drink station.
Drake Station?
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm a host. I'll be at the top of the stairs seating people.
I don't have any idea what I'm doing yet. I'm sure they'll put me to work somewhere. All right, next item.
Item 7, executive session.
Okay, we do have a need for executive session, so I'm gonna move we recess into executive session for a period not to exceed 30 minutes for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in attorney-client relationship, specifically for the primary discussion of acquisition of real property and to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. I'm just going to note too that Commissioner Mays will be joining us by Zoom, so we will not exceed 30 minutes on that. That's the time we've allotted at this point. We will start that. Let's go for 10. You give us enough time to sign papers? All right.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. No action is taken at this time, so we are adjourned.